Today we go look inside the concern them we don't come out from the conference of principal of secondary school as for circa the 2025 was we don't start now the country and for can look at the concern and they we get James Dawudu, we now the public relation officer region Western region for conference of principal for secondary school as a day in the program. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Yeah. Good morning again.
The conference of principal for secondary school now body we make up of principals from different secondary schools across the country. As this body they oversee the activities of principal them and also in terms of promotion, recruitment, and also look at concerns them way they affect principals them at different secondary school. And one part of concern they have make we get James Dawudu we go can talk about the concern them we then get for circa the 2025 was we don't begin at the country. Once more, good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Yeah, good morning again.
Before we can start for look at the concerns we want to get for the 2025 was we don't begin at the country. When you talk of the conference of principals of secondary school, let me look at the strength of this body. Would that basically they be part of this body?
Now, principals them, now then they be part of this body. And we they within the Western region. We comprise the urban as well as the rural secondary schools. We also get we other borders then within at the north, south, and the east. Then also get their own conference. Then we get also a national conference wherein all of us from the various region they come together and speak as one.
As I mentioned earlier, the body they look at the promotion, recruitment, and issues and way they affect principals. Them that will look into the activities and also we other highlight. How now can go about for look at the in terms of promotion, recruitment of principals them across the country.
And well, it is like this is a very major aspect of we own job. Like for instance, we get majority of principal now and then in the acting capacity. CPSS go at least meet the people that we concern like the TSC, the Ministry of Education, and try for lobby for say them people they're not in at this acting capacity for too long. It is high time now for really let them consider and like power conference we capture that issue. We also look at issues like subsidy where they bordered the various schools them really way at least some schools and they not get it, some they don't get. And some again then they underpay them. So these are all the issues that we can look at so that we try for meet the appropriate authorities so that and then go prove a solution as and when it necessary so that we go able to solve that problem. We can also look again on educational issues the way they bordered the schools because principals are administrators them and where they look at the running the day-to-day running of the school. And one of the top issues then are where they really affect we now the worst entries. And we WAEC just recently don't print the scannables then we then say that they will operate with. Initially in several of the meetings, in one of the meetings on the 10th, 2nd, or the 25th, the PRO of the WAEC Eminget Hotel we say really the CAS, the continuous.
We can't talk about that and the concern where you come from. Maybe talk first about on our work and the thing they wanna don't do. How somebody go become member or how principal of school them go become member of this conference of principal?
Well, you will become a member as a result of one who know for say you are serving a school. The school for be a government assisted school. We also again get with government schools then where we other colleagues in the south, and then of course we get the private schools. Their self can also be a member to this body. Then of course then get a dues where then they pay every year annually where they come to the conference where they capture when at the they use for run the affairs of the conference.
You're talking about the dues and the thing they say for if you don't get school and be principal. So what one they look for if somebody wanna get any here when they watch for somebody go just say no more me na principal na the school or the act then immediately that person say one join the conference of principal that's when I go allow them for join.
It is like every registered school through the Ministry of Education, and where they don't give the operation say they act as schooling in the country, they get a right for join the group provided they follow the rules and regulations of the conference.
So how best una can talk to government, and because we dey see most of the schools them now, some of them get the acting principal because one per una mandate them una work there na for say una advocate for promotion for them principal there. Wetin how una cable best una cable for talk to government for say them particular teacher had don reach this stage where for common acting like go now as full-time principal.
The TSC at least in the deal with the teacher management, and so that aspect is fall under them purview.
Then they come back to una for talk to una, for ask una recommendation and anything. They not can come back to una the principal, the TSC.
Yes, we advocate to tell them for say really the people are don't do, and as a result of it, them need for be promoted. It is like you get for act as in the serving capacity, not to 1 year, 2 years, some they did 3 years, and as a result of it, and as a result of it, really, that one they go warrant you, then will tell you for say, they go through an advert, you go send you qualifications, and you write every other thing when they ask you, then they call for an interview. If you go through the interview, definitely recommendation, and go then go send them to the minister so that they will approve you, so that you become a substantive principal, where then go put you in a scale. And so all the advocacies and they really we do them, because now we colleague principals and we want see for CC, then self climb up, so that they become substantive principals of the school level. Then they act. Not to for just say you go just did it for 1 or 2 years, but you go down there in the serving capacity for at least 3, 4, or 5 years before actually you go come to that position there.
Part of our advocacy now for CC schools them get their subsidy on time. But let me look at the issue of welfare of principals then. When you talk to principals then, one go say the salary way that they receive not can match up to the position where they can get at the schools then. Within the conference of principal law they do for ensure say the salary of principals then able to match up to the position where they own at the school then.
Well, principals then they operate with a scale, and the scale it is like you get grade 11, 10, 12, and all the rest of it where you get you number of you amount where you receive. And on that really now we can receive the salary. But we don't the advocate and for say really then for the pay according to experience and the qualification. And the SLTU way at least get the bargaining certificates, they look at it and they don't push that, and they don't inform me per 1 or 2 of meetings for say, and they try for work towards it.
And from the time when you are pushed to now, how soon this go come into reality?
Well, it depends upon the big funds them how they go able for, but then they work on them because SLTU with the president of the SLTU been telling in one of the meetings for say, then they push that really, and very soon they go try for address that aspect.
Okay, you didn't have the studio for talk about concern them way the conference of principal and get for sake of the WAS exam we don't start now the country. For listeners them out there, waiting at the concern them way una gets as the exam don't start.
It is like this year was we really accept with mixed bag. At least what we they expect is not to so happen. The mandate of WAEC really now for conduct exams, of course public exams, NPSC, BECE as well as WAS, and so that the beginning then will be assessed where then will get them promotion to another level. Then we don't tell me in several of the meetings for say the continuous assessment they take 30%, and of course it is like the first class if we come in December the 31st of May and the end September the 30th 2025. That's now for the first class. The second class if we come in the 15th of October and the end to the 15th of December 2025, and of course the third class when I know the BRS where they give the confirmation and where they give the power for like you able for print your BRS in, of course it begin from November the 15th and the end February the 15th 2026. So these are laid down rule as far as we caste system is concerned, and at this really we follow. But we observe by one of the meetings we've been getting this government model and the briefing, then tell me for say they no print, they don't work with the BRS. They only use CAS 1. And if they use CAS 1, it debar a lot of other students them from taking the exam. So we don't.
So one quick one before CAS about a different CAS them. You talk say CAS 1 now for starts May and go end inside September.
The 30th, 2025.
Yes, CAS 2 you talk about October and all. And the exam, the actual exam, now this year for be start, it for be happen May.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
the exam this yearly we don't begin out. Today yearly we get Health Science 3.
okay, you will continue to explain more a different CAS. They will make that clarification there.
Okay, why I could get a time bound within CASIA for flowing.
Okay.
And if the time beats you, definitely they're not going to accept you entries. This is the established and well. So I will go again. The 31st of May to September the 30th, 2025. Now the submission of CASIA, CAS 1. CAS 2 now, it will begin from the 15th of October to December the 15th, 2025. Now the submission of CAS 2. And CAS 3, they take from November the 15th and it ends February 15th, 2026. That's now the uploading of the BRS. And WAEC now gets two software. Then get the CAS software and then get the BRS software. And the BRS software really now in the key now the production of you confirmation of entries, the photo album, and of course all the picking them now the school way they get for sit that exam day. And the IT them before they do the printing. Now why they give them the pin so that they go able for go to the system before they go able for print the BRS so that the picking and go get her. Now we don't print the BRS for the various schools them. Now we don't begin distribute the BRS. But when we've been there on conference, now they bring in then distribute the scannables them. And we colleagues them up the provinces now, then realize now for say the scannables then now they use as attendance. And the attendance now not capture some of the picking them where they pan the BRS them where we get now various school will be done the key. And so we get a confused situation wherein picking them now where they na the BRS where now then give you the pin for let them print from the BRS, their name they not come pan the scannables. And now they say the scannables then now they use as attendance for really run the exam.
You talk say why begin a timeline for why get the timeline where they give the different CAS them for able for submit them. You did they talk for the conference of principal. You been go back to you colleague principal and ask them and if they able for meet WAEC timeline. Now we talk now about CAS 1 for send the CAS them for the picking name. Because according to WAEC, the problem we didn't get now that the principal and able for send the CAS them for the picking name to time.
You right. But the Ministry of Education and WAEC then be done they give repeated announcement where then they remind principal for the submission of them various CAS there. I think say CAS 1 have been do get an issue much like the CAS 2 and the CAS 3. But that has been solved because repeatedly they be done they tell we for say follow we send we CAS them so that we not go found ourselves wanting or not go allow they not go see which schools they left out.
Okay. Let me look at the CAS process. When you talk of who that they upload the CAS, is it the school or who that they upload the CAS?
The process they start wherein with a capture we picking them now various schools them with the Becker results and we submit them to the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education now they go through for see whether them picking there then qualify, then get especially if they get English and maths. Okay. And from there now the ministry go come now, then go say, well, you own quota. Let's say, for instance, you send 400. Then say maybe you the qualified candidates then for your school now 250. That 250 day, now then they send now to WAEC, and now on that you work on.
Okay, continue for the with the program. Will come back to you. We will talk about more concern them where una get as the exam don't start. And today also we don't see plenty school name. We go use the Methodist Girls High School as case study as all of them picking them for the 2025 was not get for take the exam this year.
The Chief Minister Dr. David Moina Sengeh say with the radical inclusion policy where government they implement now, disabled, underprivileged picking and picking them will get belay, don't get access to free and quality education. Dr. David Moina Sengeh talked this in our panel discussion as the co-chair and a global citizen now 2025, where they carry on now in New York City, in the United States, on the theme education and health for the next generation. Kabia gets more and gonna report.
The Global Citizen now, na initiative where they bring together world leader them, influencer them, decision maker and plenty other people them for address urgent global challenge. Where the summit focus for create global agenda for action on things them we get to do with climate change, poverty, gender inequality, and defending civic space. For no waiting salon don't do na different sector them where encompass technology and innovation, health and education. Make the Chief Minister, Dr. David Moina Sengeh, don't attend the Global Citizen Now 2025 Summit na the United States inside New York. Also the Chief Minister been take part for one panel discussion on the theme education and health for the next generation.
The radical inclusion policy happened when I was Minister of Basic Education back then. On the day in which I signed my oath of office, the president was on the stage somewhere when I signed my oath as Minister of Education. And the president said that he was going to hold onto the ban that prevented pregnant girls from going to school. It had been a 10-year ban at that time. So I went back to State House and I engaged him and I said, you just made me Minister of Education today and you just did set this policy. How would you like us to engage with it? And he said, go and listen to people. If you go and talk to the pregnant girls, if you go and talk to the parents, I will be willing to have a conversation about this. So precisely, I went out into the field, went to every district in Sierra Leone, met with pregnant girls, met the parents, met the boys, met the teachers, met the streets, and asked them a question about what would it look like pregnant girls in school. What were their fares?
You been listening to the Chief Minister, Dr. David Moina Sengeh, who say he talk about the radical inclusion policy, where he say government they implement now. In carry on for talk about the importance of the radical inclusion policy.
And it also was those weeks that led to that teenage girl getting pregnant and dropping out. Our team developed an app that allowed kids, no matter who they were, wherever they were, to check their results instantaneously. That made more transition for girls, that made parents who better finance their child's education. Being able to develop what we call the National Innovation and Digital Strategy back from 2018 meant that when we speak about AI, when we speak about digitization, when we speak about all of these solutions, now we were thinking way ahead of our time. Final example, one of my students, I lecture as well at the university. And I was on my way here, I started in Ghana, long transit, so I exited, and I went to this hotel, and there were these Sierra Leonean students. And they came to meet me, and one of them introduced herself. She'd been in my class. I had 200 students, I didn't remember her. But she was in Ghana with a solution that was a mobile offline server for learning, that they rolled out to all of these communities where they had downloaded learning material with the guys at UNICEF, with the guys at BSTI, and actually bringing these examination solutions to communities that would never otherwise happen.
Dr. David Moina Sengeh same way so say, with the radical inclusion policy, disabled, poor and girl pikin we get belle don't get access to free and quality education.
What we learned was for radical inclusion to actually shape society, we had to include they fell out of school, we had to include people who came from poor backgrounds, and we had to include those with disabilities, seen and unseen disabilities. So radical inclusion as a policy says that no matter who you are, every boy, every girl, with seen, unseen disability, poor people, those living in remote and rural areas, we will do everything to make sure that you can access quality education and you reach your fullest potential.
Innovation and technology. Now one area where Dr. Sengeh talk inside this summit say governments don't improve PAM.
So when I first came to Sierra Leone as Chief Innovation Officer, I'll be on the radio talking about data. And people would say, oh, quality education, you show us better quality education, don't tell us about data. Don't tell us about data when we don't have water. Don't tell us about data when we don't have good hospital systems. But I think what Omogumi just said and what she's demonstrated is when we speak in terms of data, when we measure outcomes, when we measure impact and communicate that's part of solving the problem. That's part of making sure that everybody comes on board to see a future that we can imagine. When I joined government, I had very long dreadlocks. I was 31. It was not common to see somebody with dreadlocks at 31, not wearing suits, sitting in the office of the president, talking about data. So I was out of sorts and out of place.
Dr. David Moina Sengeh end up call on investor them. Foka invest na the education, health and other sector them na salon as he say government on put strong law and policy them we go benefit salon and save the investor them. For Radio Democracy, Kabia the reports.
The program na Good Morning Salon and they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM where they come over to with studio guest we na James Daudu we na the Public Relations Officer, Conference of Principal of Secondary Schools for Western Region. We be done earlier start for lay premise with regard the concern we wanna get for this year was and one of the concern are the issue of the CAS. But again, one concern will be done to come out now from the education sector, especially from the ministry, now the late submission of CAS by secondary schools them. And we see the ministry be the go after schools for talk to them for make them submit the CAS for the candidates them. What you get therefore say with regard that is it that schools will be submit their CAS them on time or it be also affected as a late submission of?
Well, it is like we'll be done the already announcement. I mean, not a victim. You understand? And several out there again not to be a victim. But we get about 84 schools then way at least been left out where they not be able for submit. So now on that information they mean they go on for and so that let them go submit then CAS. And some be able, some they not be able. You understand? For submit. But I understand say a committee they way na the TSC then they investigate them why they're able for sending CAS on time.
Una na the Conference of Principals where they look after or advocate on behalf of principals in a secondary school. You talk about schools that will not be able to submit their CAS results. They'll be able to explain to now waiting to be the challenge or the reason why they cannot be able to submit their CAS results either on time or at all.
Well, normally we can talk through meetings them and tell them for serially the position of the ministry and YX a time bound. In fact, it in our groups, it is everywhere. And so it left with you as a head, a functional head, and follow you do waiting the press release say for send the entries of you picking them way through the CAS so that you not go found with a victim. So we'll be done to inform them through with various groups then for serially they for submit.
So who's school rights people on the advocates for Nayam? One now the one them we get problem with how I can able for use the BRS, the way they for use according to you, we say not submit the CAS 9 for use for me they go for print the BRS for the picking them. Or now the school them this over 80 something school them will not be able for send we're not able for send and cast them for them picking them not able for go school. No one can not able for sit this exam. So Usman really una the advocates for as principal.
Let me make my position clear here on behalf of we conference. We need to look at the schools that we are not able for submit.
Okay.
We look at the school the way they don't submit and but really and when them print then give them pin, they don't print the confirmation of entries, they don't print them BRS, they don't begin submit them, give them beyond picking them, and later on we work now then say they need to take they not work on the BRS, then work on CAS 1. And if they work on CAS 1, it affects various beginning at the various schools them because the CAS 3 now nine capture every other picking now where they sit the exam because the program the system call for make corrections and for make changes.
So it will not be the problem if they work on CAS 1 and you say now the CAS 3 now capture plenty parent picking the way get for sit the exam.
Now we observe now say now like the CAS 1 with the tick now just index number now come with the name. Then photo album, the picture, we not get anything like a picture marked. So anybody can just flow in at the examination hall. It say Mina Amadou Kagbo. He enter and sit the exam. We not get anything for check. But in the past, we get to picture marked. We they look your face and look at where they don't submit to we for say really indeed you na Amadou Kagbo. Now you face dinner, now you for take them. But as of now, we're not able to forget her. Now number 2. Now the CAS gets a system from one process to another. CAS 1 leading to CAS 2, CAS 2 leading to CAS 3. And when we go CAS 3 now they will be able to print the photo album confirmation of entries. Now the entry process is totally get some confusion. And because really we're not able for ascertain if these students really na me young picking na this school na in the seat. And the principals and now they go man the school, they are coming from different schools now crisscrossing. And now they do supervision and vigilation. You as a principal and teacher na your own school, you dey left, you dey go to another school. Now me don't know the beginning of your own school. And I not get a photo album for clarify for say this speaking really now this young picking now only now names and index number were very difficult for the process.
The last time we get the public affairs officer for YX Salu Kamara at the studio have been make and clear say the principal of the different school nobody different cast them way and YX they use and safe them be send the IT people for train the young people for able for use the cast fine. And see one problem them if fair not if now some school they say now 200 picking them for enter for the exam. The school then go wait stay then take other picking them when most some of them picking they know they attend the school so man go for go receipt to us. They say that they bring the delay to the principal and for let them go able for send the cast for the actual picking them where they attend the school. So waiting to be the concern where una get from the una principal and say now this and this so then be gets back to YX say now this na be the reason we make them able for use this cast then go use the cast 3.
We only know for say na CAS 1 they use when we go pa we briefing last week Saturday in a government model. Na they by them briefing na they inform we for say na only CAS 1 na they use for do the printing of the one that we get for seat. So meaning the BRS them, some of the BRS them will be done the GI as heads. Some names then they pan the BRS but some other names they know they. And then tell we say that attendance, if you name not the day, you not get no right for sit the exam. Now that then tell we say na CAS 1 na they use for printer because the principal they may really vex. And then tell them for say no, therefore don't use CAS 3. Because CAS 3 now you get the proper definition of the picking the way they sit the exams na the various school. And now then tolerate that because then give a pin to the IT and the IT then go na the system, they accept them and then download. And when they download, now they then print the album and the confirmation of entry. Why can I for don't get a system for the detect if this picking not supposed for the day and then pull on. So that they not to we own concern. Ministry don't give we own quota. They don't give we own names. We don't submit. If they may not say this picking and not get right for the day, then we don't get a system where then they quitter. But now we don't go from CAS 1, we go CAS 2 and CAS 3. And we talk about 30% of the continuous assessment. And now they just use CAS 1. And if we are taking 30% of the continuous assessment, picking them with 30% already. If you don't go CAS 1, CAS 2, CAS 3. But if you take CAS 1, it's just 10%. And we get 10% definitely. What about CAS 2 and CAS 3? So you don't cut off the picking from that. So if you picking gets 30% in the continuous assessment, enough for the get F9. Definitely that 30% don't exonerate her from getting F9. So if they see the technicalities there who they advocate for say really, the CAS 1, CAS 2 and CAS 3 is very, very important. And I think how it and I don't now operate on.
Okay. Classy 19.1 FM and we will bring to the edition of the program. My name is Adeyemi Jackson.
And my name is Leone Kabia.
The program they continue and we will look at another issue inside the program. The public affairs officer for YX Salu Kabara don't call on school invigilator them not for take money na any picking and where they take the national primary school examination method this year as he say this day against the examination rule. They make this call is one interview with the democracy where it be the respond to some challenge them where some primary school authority then be raised for sake of the NPSA exam where will happen method this year. Sonia Bell gets more and gonna report.
primary school don dey sit to the national primary school exam, wey dis na terminal exam wey dey determine if pikin qualify for start junior secondary school. But inside the past year dem, situation don dey happen during this exam. Usai, some kombra dem kin cook berebe one as dem kin go left dem pikin dem for sit at the different center dem across the country. Wey this according to some school authority dem don dey be challenged during the course of this exam. As school pikin dem dey about for sit to this year MPSC make Radio Democracy dey go waka na few school dem for know how dem don prepare dem school pikin ya for this exam, and same way so how this recent behavior of some kombra dem don dey affect the conduct of the MPSC exam.
We don prepare them, we don cover all the topics we fit for cover. I can say we don't prepare now.
We can always prepare them well. Of course, we get with syllabus, we get with scheme of work. As early as the first day of term, we don't begin work. We don't complete with syllabus. We don't complete with revision, do past papers. Of course, we don't send we entries them, we don't send we cast mark. So we believe say we will be successful. We don't prepare well.
After we then school authority we don't talk about how they don't prepare them school picking them for this year MPSC. The deputy head teacher for St. Luke's Primary School now Wilberforce, Salema Tukagbo, raised this concern on behalf of encompassing them.
Me, I go say it gets two way. Number one, it affects and one it affects. Okay. At times, though them don't dey in school, it's with the teachers them all the time now we dey with them. But if they see them parents they get around again, then they give them confidence. Because Boko people when they go for what say these exams, so that fear can in there, that exam phobia. So man can even sick, they sick point to one thing. But at times if that keep happen, we can normally call mama or the papa or uncle, whosoever go with them, say, come talk to this speaking. They can talk, then calm them down, then go inside. The other side now way bad. Some when they can go now, they go get the picky go. Then some picking they can even feel bad, pan the eat when they can get them. When you see them go inside the examination, all they need before do not take again.
After where this head teacher be don raise this concern here, Radio Democracy be go waka na the West African Examination Council and talk with the public affairs officer Saliu Kamara wey be respond to this concern.
Let them allow the candidates them for take exams on their own. You as parents now for stay far from the center. When lunchtime come, the beginning they allow them for commode and any food you get, you give. So you as invigilator not to that time they for say when I contribute 2 Leone or 5 Leone for the invigilators. Then they know the work when I left. Then picking the the first foundation this for let them take that exam they show that you go no see what study now this grade I get and let them deserve them even grade them. So not to the time any picking, no teacher not the way to tell you say couch 1 Leone that they couch 2 Leone, no give. No invigilator, no the way then they tell for collect money on that very day.
Saliu Kamara and for encourage school picking them all about the country. We get for sit to this year National Primary School Examination NPSC for develop courage, confidence and understanding as they sit the exam so that they will get good grade at the end of the day. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Mina Sonia Bell, they report.
The program where you listen to na Good Morning Salon, where they can show you from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. You have get the opportunity for be part of the program by where we can send a text message to the number 077-981-981 or you go to Radio Democracy Facebook page and drop your comments there. Well, for respond for Sengeh waiting WAEC don't put in place for Sengeh the worst exam we don't start and self-concern them. We don't come out from different principles them. And schools then we're not able to take this year was make the public affairs officer for WAEC Saliu Kamara been talked to in reporter Mastans Waye inside this interview as he say the head of school them for take responsibility for some school picking them we not get for take this year was.
The concern where some principal and they raise based on all the allegations that now where they go, we get a system where we don't implement for the past 3 years now. That system they on. Because before we will do CAS, we have continuous assessment for candidates the way then school authority they are gets. So then continuous assessment they are at the end of the day, then they submit with the exams done. But now, delay them the day for process the result. Some principal and they not even submit. So all the 5-member country thought and fit say this continuous assessment if for come on a yearly basis, and all other member countries they don't do it. So we said by 2023-2024 exams will come with that implementation and we'll do training nationwide in this country where the learn principal and they with the IT officers then. And even last year, ministry again take the venture for to train the IT officers them and the DDs them all over. Should a principal gets problem, if they go now the inspectorate, then they let them help them.
What's the entering process now by inside?
So this cashier one, if they go with your list of candidates the way you don't promote from SS1 to SS2. You don't promote them candidate then they already. So now then continuous assessment, if they submit them online. But still we be out and then they just submit direct to it. That 2023. So people and they maybe they inflate number because of this money where then they take from people that were not even then at the school system. So ministry thought and fit well now before any list they can let the principal and submit the list of the candidates then to ministry when at the employing authority so that they will verify them candidate and know their eligibility before then they allow WAEC for the access to the school and for whether they upload. So that's now in we apply this 2024. So the school they all submit their list to ministry verify their eligibility and then give it the go ahead for later. And this cashier one now in get all the biodata, the name, date of birth, the school, then the face of the candidate and in subject there if not commercial, arts, science, all the subjects there, you know. And this cashier one, we agree again on timelines. We are in all the stakeholders, CPSS, SLTU, MBSSC, with other stakeholders that we concern. We agree on timelines. Well, the cashier one, log a fixed time. We every year, this time not they change again. We see that time they come, we they open the portal, then submit. So the cashier one, they start from May 31 to September 30 every year. The cashier 2, they start October 15 to December 15 every year. Then the BRS now, where then they can do for the then candidate, they are reach SS3 now, where then they submit so that the candidate then they can sit. Instead they start from November 15 to February 15. Then the cashier 3, where instead they on right now, you don't start from March to May 30. Okay, you don't even close yesterday. The cashier 3. So then timeline there, every school in this country gets then timeline there, we agree on them. So therefore, when they can do the BRS November 15, we open to February 15, you they go exports. Then details of them candidate there from you cashier one we don't set. So this cashier one will give reference number to each and every candidate. Let's say candidate A with this in reference number. You know they will change them for nobody. So the mere file don't submit cashier and then candidate and then no more you go able to upload for the BRS. So any changes we do, they know they reflect now the system again because you know they do it in consonance.
In this situation, who that gets the blame?
Of course, now the principal and now then do the entry and now what you realize in some them do so when they upload the template for can do the BRS, they then go export the thing from cashier one, the details of the candidate then. Some principal and they don't take money from picking them or from other people that we not then at the school system. So if now Emma Kamara be gets the cashier one with that reference number, until offline and they can't do the entry, then they change Emma to other name we don't give them money. So now this pressure that the truth way they don't change all entry they submit and now waiting they ask cashier one is different with waiting then they then submit for the BRS. So this now in the problem where they don't do, they not agree for tell the people and the truth saying that this they don't do. And ministry don't make and clearly if you get a legitimate concern with EBC and you submit cashier one, then details then you submit. So if you get NYX change, count your list. They don't give them that opportunity.
Right. So then make one other allegation we say the total number of students them we then submit to WAEC, not to that number they wanna be sent back to them as picking them we get for 6 the exam.
We get a regulatory body when at the ministry they regulate the activity. The list we ministry give we get an aya, we then sign. Now that list they WAEC work on. We not get any dealings, whether you send 30 and the ministry approve 10 for you. That 10 they now they able to upload now the system. So now that's really work. So anybody will get legitimate concern, you get your authority, don't tell you say now if you know say that cashier one, the list of candidates them who we approve for you now that you upload now the system counter. Now we see what WAEC gets then and try for solve the problem. They know they produce then this there.
Year in, year out, we don't see them kind same issue they have. So waiting WAEC don't do for address this.
Now this cash system now work out because year in, year out, then they go take people that we know then at the school system. Then they can't put them. At the end of the day, they see somebody when at 50 years they go sit school exams. So ministry now don't whip that repeaters policy. So therefore, if you get your candidate from SS1, at the end of the day, if you're able to submit cash year 1 for a more promoter to SS2. So at the end of the day, for the mere fact you don't submit this, you're not able to add any candidate again. So this is not the problem. When they affect some, they will not agree for change. And see, at the end of the day, we then picking the Bible, don't see it all come on. If they see Peter there, or even some, they will not even at the school, they say, hey, I want to see you, and they take money, now they earn. And that changes the money, you know, they reflect in our system.
So in total, how many school picking go for seats this year?
Yeah, total number of candidates they will get for this was we get 148,362 candidates out of 888 schools in this country.
So how many are for able for take the exam due to the
that's why they in our system. If not then, they enter correctly with the details. Now they really cater, we don't cater for them. So now we don't know that they don't change, then they know which they don't do.
So what's going to be the fate of the one that now when go for able for sit the exam?
If your system, like I say, if you not get cash year 1, then they from the money we don't pass that stage. For the mere fact they not submit cash year 1 for you. The BRS way they can't enter, you know they able to make you sit the exam. And in fact, when they enter, they not verify then candidates then they for ministry. Now candidate we then take on then you now. Ministry for verify the list. And now then list the ministry verify, we then clear 886 schools, we get 148,362 candidates. So if you the one that we do the correct thing, all the candidates then they sit and we don't print every material, they don't not able to change again. We don't send the school authority, they don't receive the material there, they don't give acknowledgement, and the exam don't start, we don't conduct over 4 papers now.
Right, so going forward, which mechanism then we WAEC go put together for ensure say on attack then kind issues there so
WAEC don't put so many mechanisms. The only thing we not get control over the principle then now MBSSE for put mechanism to them principle we dishonest. We then give 10 candidates, make sure say the names of them 10 candidates then they upload. So we need honesty in the system. Now the only problem down there, if we get honesty, they don't approve 888 schools with 148,362 candidates. If not then candidates they are then go, they enter, whether no they left them. Replacement no they by the system. Now this replacement ain't our problem. We they don't take money from parents them or from other people them. We then one car incorporate now the exams. We they're not supposed to sit. Now this not the problem. We they not agree for tell people that we self they part of the system because we they go now then school there with the evaluating beginning and they talk with the evaluating parent and they talk. But then no get mind tell the public say now this they don't do. So anybody like who they say anybody will get legitimate concern, you know, say that you cast here one, that list we ministry approve. Now him you get, you submit, then they get problem. Can ministry, now you employ an authority, ministry they forward the list to WAEC. Then from there we go into the system and verify. They don't tell the damn but nobody not submit nothing in it.
Well, you've been listening to the public affairs officer for WAEC, Saliu Kamara, as we talk to reporter Mastan Swaye inside that interview day, as he say the head of school them for take responsibility for some school picking them we don't get for take the 2025 WAS exam as it don't start. You don't listen to it the public affairs officer for WAEC say, and he may make series of allegations them and concern them when say WAEC gets for sake of this exam. One panel concern here we make now that the cast one where the principal and don't put the picking their name and all thing where they ready for inputs for cast 3 now other picking their name they change the.
WAEC not get the system. WAEC not the advice we wait we for do. And if the PRO they talk so, they're able to get a system where they're able to detect and then realize waiting principal and don't do it all right, waiting principal and do it right. And this na system we don't they go on, not too far. But this year now, then decided and say then print from class year 1.
And then according to them, then do one because the challenge when they don't get make them introduce this system. And the name of the picking them will be in the inside cast 1. We now go now for the principal and go now for send for the entry now, not the for the cast 3 now other picking them we know the inside cast 1 this instead and send.
As you rightly talk an allegation, he don't talk for say if any principal get a concern and make it can with him. So let's wait for see. You understand? If any principal get concerned, he go carry it through the Ministry of Education.
The other allegation in back we make now that some principal and they collect money from some school picking name, say like the one they don't see to us, so not to their name, they left the actual picking name when then they attend the school like for Methodist Girls High School. So we see all of the picking name not for take this year was and other school them back we don't see them concerned. They say now other picking name them then go put we then they don't take money.
That's again another allegation. And for say principal and they take money in a picking hand. Let me try for come to waiting and the thing. It don't set the premise. And for say really before at least picking for seat, if we go through the process, we cashier 1 they lead to cashier 2, cashier 2 they lead to cashier 3, and cashier 3 now they able for print the BRS where they get the photo album and you get the confirmation of entries. That is totally is off.
So you not principal.
Yeah.
You get school.
Yeah.
So your school affected.
Yes.
So waiting at the challenge now that now money they then take for other picking name, put her on the actual picking they wanna be put from cast 1 to cast 3.
Well, it is like we submit with names that we don't get from cast 1.
So waiting at the problem to your own school now.
Well, that we see.
Because
why? Like because they're not informed we for saying a cast year 1 and then they begin to printing. Now that we see, so the whole thing is just new to us.
No, I actually then go back cast year 3 and the name don't find out. Waiting, okay, with
that
waiting
internal arrangements now the way they get and now they come up with when they say they print. They not go to where inform we say because of this and this now it don't happen. So now cast year 1 now they print.
So now take them concern here to why more you school, not take your school as case study.
Yes.
Waiting to be the response.
It is like it is just a coincidence now with the timetable. It tell the exam for start. So time not there. It is like from the conference we come to the briefing, and briefing are last Saturday, and exam they begin today.
But if in genuine, now go to why down and see waiting will be the response.
Yes, now they tell you say it is yet for long wait long see colleagues them then go come with their own kind challenge or then kind issue. This is what the PRO now you don't talk.
You not principal.
Yes,
right?
sir.
At any point in time, you not ever take money for ad picking them.
We don't take any money. In fact, when we don't snap, the IT and the can snap every other thing. It work on that.
The issue of principals for ad picking them to the original number of candidates we then get for the school. Now one way don't come out, the concern we don't come out from even the ministry that schools and they in the habit for add to the number them way of candidates for take the WAS exam.
Fine. The PRO don't talk for serially, then get a pin. And each of them pick out and get
But this same concern don't come up from the ministry as well.
Yes, sir. We don't with all them concern we don't they come say principal and they go na the system they change. Why for don't get a system we are in even if principal and do them kind of thing they go through.
But the conference of principal gets responsibility for look into the challenges them with principals that they facing across the country. Yes. And like I say, this concern be done they come up from both WAEC and the ministry. What you una don't they do for say una address una membership, not for engage into any kind of practice.
Well, we don't flag the information to with various meetings there with the whole and with various group. We expect say every principal is responsible for handle the affairs of your own school and follow and wait in the Ministry of Education don't tell me. And that's what they operate on.
But still, una say una get a concern for the picking the way not able for take was and the WAEC person don't say then concern and make una take waiting back where you go back to your colleague principal and the conference of principal. Waiting you go tell them for sake for make them take them concern as you say most of them concern we then get ingenuine.
Today, at the start of a big paper, we are in at least the experience so many picking and they can at the various centers then for take the exam. Now, the psychological impact where this thing don't get for create. Let's say, for instance, 4 of us were in the same class and we do health science. Only 2 qualifying at the school. The 2 are out. Seeing your colleagues in a uniform for go take the exam. And you, we genuinely now all in a class. the system take you out, it is really not fine. And this is what we are advocating for. Then they get a general thing that when they talk, say principal and the this, then the that, then the that. But what we are saying, we have genuine cases of students, and we at least they remove them out of the system because of this cash one who then do the printing on.
One now attempt for look at some of the messages them where people don't send, and this one with 077981981 say the move by WAEC is timely. Most of these principals are doing what they are accused of. They are collecting money from people who are not attending the schools to sit the exam. This is one of the reasons why our education is not worthwhile as it used to be, because most people who are passing the WAS are not inclined to be in the universities.
And this other one, they say why economic and clear say any school or principal we get concerned for sake of the cast where they not give for the school picking them, or then give the correct one make them go na WAEC. The principal and for don't come together as they talk about them concern then go na WAEC with this concern.
This one with 077981981 say the presence of high security around the NPSC centers will create panic among the pupils from Kurama na Kanuka town is Ikonadugu district.
And this other one, they say the conference of principal and Mr. Studio guest waiting on our next step for the one that we not get for seats. We get school them we only picking and not get for seats. Any option there for them pick here?
This one mistake now with Facebook page say motivating the shooting stars is key. The current SLFA administration, the Ministry of Sport and the National Sport Authority should do the needful to keep the momentum going, more so when they have started well. Kudos to the boys.
And this other one, they say the conference of principal na need for talk to our colleague principal for make they really put things in place and do the right thing. Because why picking not attend the school, you go put them for seats exam, we're not waiting for seats, and the right one they wait for seat they suffer. This is unfair.
This one is 077981981 say Mr. James, what is responsible for the lack of progress by secondary school? Because recently WAEC disclosed that 892 senior secondary schools have successfully uploaded their continuous assessment scores. Only 11 schools have also completed the mandatory uploading of the BRS from Acton and New Englandville. Well, you get a lot of messages, but because of time, we go come to with studio guests for make a response to some of the messages that we would already. Yes, sir.
I thank the questioners or the people that we send them concern very much because these are concerned where they bothered. One of the things I want to look at, they say waiting will be the fate of the one that we not go able for sit now. That is why within our studio, they continue for advocate and talk for say this not a concern because them Pecan are the Sierra Leonean picking away themselves get the right for let them take or partake by any exam. And besides, you will also say Sierra Leone na examination oriented country. We are in now where you sit exam, they assess you and go determine your position for like you continue your schooling or your education. So we want to see how best we can able for meet the Ministry of Education and WAEC, and how best again then go able for see how then go give them people another chance so that then go able for take the exam. So they continue for press and advocate so that then go really fulfill this area. That's now one.
Okay.
We also look again at colleagues the way they plan and kind of practice there. This really is very touching. And but we're not getting the principal now we don't come up now saying that this now don't do this, now don't do that. We they talk now generally for say this will serve as a deterrent, and we all for no for say really we not for they do the other things. Let's do the right thing so that things will come up fine and will not go in a very querying situation by the public or the Ministry of Education, either WAEC. And so I want for just talk to colleagues and say we for continue for do the right thing as far as we data entry is concerned for beginning our various schools that we get for take the exam.
Okay. One for say plenty thank you to James Daudu, we now the public relations officer for the Conference of Principals of Secondary School Western Region. One for say plenty thank you for we take your time for be part of the program today. Good morning, Salon.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
With that now we studio guest we na James Daudu, we na the public relations officer, conference of principals of secondary school, Western region, we don dey take we through the concerns that we then get for this year as we don't begin across the country. Well, now this edition of the program Good Morning Salon go left for today.